Hello everyone, this is Yao Yao. We are in the beautiful Wubu. Today I have a wonderful friend, Amanda, here with me.
Hello.
So Amanda is one of the most inspiring person I ever met on my journey. So today I invite her here to share her life story and to share the wisdom she had learned on her journey. And Amanda used to be a lawyer in Perth 5 years ago in Australia. And now she's a digital nomad, a free diver, yoga teacher, snowboarder, social media manager, website builder. Wow, it's so difficult to remember everything.
Hi, I'm Amanda. I'm Vietnamese Australian. My parents moved over from Vietnam after the war, when they were young. I was born in Melbourne, raised in Perth. And yeah, like Yaya said, I was a lawyer. I wanted to travel, so I quit my job to travel the world, and that was 5.5 years ago.
So 5.5 years ago, you are a lawyer in Perth, and now you are a digital nomad and traveling around the world and doing all these crazy adventures. And how did that happen?
Well, I guess for me, it started with a love of traveling from when I was really young. It was just something that I wanted to do. As a family, we would travel a lot. And I knew that I wanted to travel the world one day, and that was just something, a dream of mine. Of course, though, very typical Asian parents, I had to go to school, go to university, get a job. And that's what I did, knowing that in the back of my head, though, that was still a goal. I really wanted to take a gap year and take 1 year off to travel somewhere.
It's very common to take a gap year in Western world.
Yeah, in Australia, a lot of my friends had done it, especially when I went to university. There were already many people who had taken a year between high school and uni, but for like Asian kids, that's just not
very common.
No, it's not normal. It's not common at all. And so I knew I wanted to do that. So even after becoming a lawyer, that was still a dream of mine. And I got married. We aren't together anymore, but yeah, we got married, and then my husband and I went and traveled the world together.
So you quit your job and just started travel with your husband after that?
Yeah, so the plan originally was to just travel for a year. And the love of traveling just really grew from there. So taking that into becoming a digital nomad, it started with a travel blog and me just learning different skills, so I was video editing and writing blog articles and just doing a lot of different things to try and make something out of my travels. And so like a lot of those things didn't work out, which is totally fine, but I learned so much along the way, and I've been able to take those skills and tune them into a way to earn income now.
Wow, that's impressive. So you have the life everybody would dream of, especially being a lawyer. Your parents must be so proud of you.
Yeah, I was proud of myself too, I spent 6 years in uni.
6 years?
Yeah.
Holy, wow.
And I became a lawyer. I got a great job. I was working for the government. And to be honest, for me, it was the best lawyer job possible because I had a fantastic team, a really great team leader, great co-workers. I learned so much, and these are just some of the best lawyers to have worked with. I had great hours.
Wow.
My friends were working 8 a.m. to 11 o'clock at night, and I was going home at 5:30 or 6 o'clock. So I had a good salary. I wasn't working weekends. So overall, this was, for a lawyer, this is a dream to be able to have a great work-life balance and to enjoy the work. I had awesome clients. So this was really the best possible outcome in terms of being a lawyer, but it still just wasn't enough for me.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's why I knew that there was something missing and I needed to pursue it. And I'm really glad that I did, because I think if I had felt that kind of burning desire, that need to go travel and to explore, if I had ignored that, I wouldn't have been honoring myself. You know, I really would have just been doing what I felt was the right thing to do, but not necessarily the right thing by me.
So it's your instinct is calling you.
Yeah, and I think, you know, I was in such a good position being young, like, it's okay to risk it. You know, taking
Yeah, you're
risks.
so young. Yeah.
Taking risks looks different depending on where you are in life. But I didn't have anyone relying on me or depending on me. And it was the perfect time to take the opportunity and just go and explore. Best decision ever.
Yeah, nothing you can lose.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're broke, just come back to work again.
Yeah.
So the next question is, when I first saw you, I was like, oh my gosh, she's so hot. In the restaurant, right? We met in the restaurant Blue Earth. And the first night I was like, wow, she must be so popular, because I saw the way how people talking to you and how your friends are talking to you. They really, really like your energy, because you always look so confident and so bright, and everybody really enjoying to be around you. But I know all the people who look perfect, they all have their own insecurity. So do you have any like appearance anxiety or body anxiety? Like, especially you grew up in Australia.
Yeah, of course. Well, I think first of all, no one looks perfect, you know. And I think that's an important thing to remember is, I think everyone at some point has faced some kind of self-esteem issues or anxiety about their appearances or their body image. I think especially as a woman,
Yes.
that's it's something that most of us, if not all of us, have felt at some point. And I definitely felt that growing up. I think for me, it started when I was 12 years old. Was kind of when I started becoming aware of my body changing, and different comments from family members started making me quite paranoid about my weight. And I was skinny, you know. So
yeah, you look so skinny.
So skinnier than I am now. So I was small. And
Be nice to teenage people.
Yeah, but I was really paranoid, and these comments can get to you, and especially, for Vietnamese people anyway, they see you and they're like, oh, you're looking a little fat.
Oh my God.
And maybe they don't necessarily mean any harm by the comment, but it only takes a few words to really get in your head. And so I became really obsessed with my weight when I was a teenager. There were periods where I wouldn't eat. I tried to throw up my food, but I don't like vomiting, so it didn't work. So I would starve myself for long periods of time, because I would weigh myself every day. And I remember for so long that I would look in the mirror, you know, and there were so many things I didn't like about myself. You know, I didn't even like the fact that I was Asian. That was one thing. And I didn't like that my hair was so dark and so straight. And I didn't like my eyes and my nose, and my teeth were too big. My boobs were small. My stomach wasn't flat enough. Like, I probably picked on everything that there was to pick on.
Yes.
Yeah, and I'm sad for my teenage self, because that's just really an unpleasant way to live, to look in the mirror and to not like yourself. And I'm so happy, obviously, that today that's not who I am, and I do really love myself.
Look at you.
I do love myself, and I embrace all these things about me that I can't even believe I could look at myself in the mirror and think such harmful things towards myself.
Exactly. Now so many teenagers, they're so harsh to themselves. They're so insecure about what they look and how people judge them. So how you overcome your insecurity?
There were, I think, a few different ways. I think one was learning self-compassion and self-love, like really looking at myself and understanding that I'm the only one who's judging myself this harshly. And actually, I would never look at my friends and think all of these things.
Exactly. We will never treat our friend that harsh.
Yeah, and
We're only so harsh to ourselves.
Yeah, and so I think, I mean, it's a gradual process, and I'd be lying if I said even today there aren't insecurities that still come up, because of course they do, you know, but I guess it starts, one, with fully just embracing who I am and realizing that beauty comes from the inside out. And I know how much value I have to offer the world. I know the wonderful things that I bring to people around me, and yeah, I think I think I'm a great person, to be honest. So I think when you start there and you realize, like, I really love who I am, and I think when, you know, I guess beauty for me, it's the same. When I look outside and I meet people, I'm not necessarily thinking about a physical attractiveness or whatever. But when I start to get to know people, I'm like, wow, they're so incredible. They're such a beautiful person. And suddenly their physical features also come alive to me.
Exactly.
And I guess maybe the same thing happened for myself, was when I really started to love who I was as a person, that suddenly all these things on the outside didn't really matter anymore. And I realized, like, what are beauty standards? You know, who dictates these things?
Exactly.
Yeah, and I think if for me, looking after myself and I'm happy, I'm healthy, and I'm doing the things that I love, like, my body allows me to do so much that I want to do. And I think I reframed my thinking from telling it negative things. Instead of saying, I don't like this, I don't like this, I was like, thank you. Thank you for my strong legs. You know, I used to look at my legs and think, oh, I wish I had skinnier legs. And I'm like, thank you for my strong legs, for letting me snowboard all day. And, you know, just, I think starting to express gratitude for my body, for being able and capable of doing all the wonderful things that I want to do, that started shifting it.
It's very easy to say, to love yourself, to forgive yourself, to be nice to yourself, but it's really, really difficult when you're doing it. Especially now, I am a practice to love myself, to give myself more compassion. I find it is really difficult. Some of my followers too, they find it is very difficult to love ourselves. We always give so many love, so many respect, so many honor to the others, but we never feel like we are really good enough. So how you love yourself, how you learn to totally give yourself compassion?
So for me growing up, I often felt like I wasn't good enough, that I wasn't worthy, I wasn't deserving. So I had a lot of these narratives in my head. And when I went to counseling for the first time when I was 22, that's when I realized, okay, I really needed to let go of this. I needed to let go of this pattern of thinking and how damaging it really was. So I had to acknowledge, first of all, that I needed to love myself, and I really needed to see myself through compassionate eyes. Because you're right, often it's easier for us to just give out to everyone else and to see good in everyone else and not to see that in ourselves. And so there were a lot of things that I had to do, you know, provide affirmations for myself. So really look and find within the things that I loved and
valued. Look at the mirror?
Yeah, so it was something that my counselor suggested, where I would look at myself in the eyes in the mirror and I would say 5 affirmations every single day. And I remember it feeling so weird.
Wow, that's so
and
weird.
And feeling uncomfortable, like it felt like a lie. It just felt so weird is the only way, because it didn't feel right. And, you know, maybe it's because a lot of us grow up being told, you know, you don't be boastful and don't talk about yourself. But there's a difference between really owning the great things about you, you know, and being someone who's like very self-absorbed and stuff. So for me, it was affirming myself with 5 statements every single day. That was such a bizarre
What'd you
practice.
say?
I don't even really remember, but one of them was definitely like, you are worthy to be loved. And I think one of them was like, you're beautiful, like, but not even you. I think it was like, I am beautiful and I am worthy to be loved. I'm intelligent.
I'm good enough.
I'm kind. Yeah, these things. And so that was something I did. Yeah, and also being loved really wholly and unconditionally. I guess then I started to feel like, okay, there is a worthiness, you know, and then I was able to see myself through different lenses and maybe seeing myself the way other people saw me. So growing up, my first experience of true unconditional love came from my great aunt, who is my grandma's sister. And she just loved me for who I was. It just felt like there was no expectation. I was enough. And then when I was 22, my partner at the time, he was the second person to show me real unconditional love. And I think from there, that changed something in me as well, because then I really understood that I was enough. You know, I could come with my faults, with my flaws, and just do my best. And that was enough. And so I think being able to see, like, actually I am worthy to be loved, someone does really love me. And, you know, reshaping my thinking around myself, that helped me to develop that compassion and forgiving a lot of my old ways and, you know, and not blaming myself for so much of the things that didn't go right. I think, I don't know about you, but for me, I really held myself to this perfectionist standard. You know, it was 100% or nothing.
Holy.
Yeah, and so I always felt like I wasn't good enough, because you can't be perfect, obviously, you know. So I was just like, if it wasn't perfect, then it wasn't enough. And I really had to let go of that and see myself through different eyes. And when I did that, and that's an ongoing journey. You know, I think that is something we learn, and you have to practice what you learn. Wow. You know, if I teach you how to play the piano one day and you know how to play something, you don't become this perfect pianist. It doesn't happen.
Exactly.
It's something that you practice daily. And so that self-compassion and self-love, I know they're really hype words, but I think what that looks like in my daily life is being able to forgive myself for mistakes and my failings along the way. You know, I know that I'm trying to be better, but sometimes I still repeat old habits. I still do really silly things and I think, oh my gosh, like that was really dumb. Why am I still doing those things? But being able to forgive myself for that and not be so critical and such a harsh critic. Yeah, I think that's where it starts, and practicing that every day.
So Amanda, you are a social media manager. You definitely have a very, very good say about how social media shape our beauty standard.
Yeah. Well, can I just start by saying I'm not trying to add negativity to beauty standards. I mean, yeah, I think social media plays a massive role in the way that we often look at ourselves, because we get glimpses, we get moments, and we capture like one tiny bit of a person's life or an advertisement, whatever it is. And it's so easy to get caught up in comparing ourselves, our body image, or even our lives and things like that, and feel as if this is what we're being measured against. And then to feel like you're falling short of that. And so social media does play such an important role. And I think it's important that each individual, that you have to be honest with yourself. I think it's vital that you be honest and you ask yourself, is this a toxic environment for me? Can I use social media without it creating some negative self-talk and a negative narrative that I'm not good enough? And if honestly you use social media and you find yourself constantly comparing and thinking, I'm not good enough, like I need to change this, and this, like it can be good to be challenged in a positive way, but there's a healthy balance to that. And what you don't want is if it's creating an environment where you hate everything about yourself, where you are finding yourself becoming extremely anxious and insecure about, we're talking about beauty standards, so about your body image or your appearance, then perhaps it's better to really steer clear of that and spend some time just working out some things within yourself so that you can more confidently look at these things and not be so affected by them.
Especially all the products company, they really know how to push all this advertisement to trigger people's fear, to let them buy something. Because like you study like 4 years for marketing in school just to make a advertisement and try to sell more. So you must know a lot of things about that.
Yeah, and look, that's consumer psychology, right?
Yes.
And often, if you look at a lot of these things, you can advertise people from a place of lacking. You know, I don't feel good enough. I'm not enough, so I need this. And that's not the only way. You know, I think that's not what we necessarily do in my company, but I think often companies make you want to feel like you're not good enough, or that you need all these things to enhance
feel good
and to feel good. But again, that comes from within. You know, joy, that happiness, fulfillment, feeling good enough, feeling worthy and deserving, all those things start inside. It's not what's on the outside that determines any of that, because all of this changes. You know, 5.5 years ago, I shaved my head and I went traveling, and it's like this. It's hair. Hair does not add value.
You shave it all?
Yeah.
Holy cow! I want to see the pictures.
Yeah.
Do you have?
Yeah, I'll show you.
Oh my god! I'm putting on it.
It doesn't. You know, for me, I've always had like really long hair and all this stuff, but it doesn't add value to me as a woman. It doesn't, you know, and we need to let go of these things, especially the things on the outside, and think that this is what gives me value and worth, because it's not.
Exactly.
It's my character. It's who I am. It's what value I really add to the world, and the difference that I can make, and hopefully the joy that I can instill to the people around me. That's for me what gives me value.
Wow.
And not, like all of this, whatever, like my hair could be gone, my teeth could all fall out, I don't know.
And the beauty standard.
Be healthy and happy.
Exactly. So when we're growing up, we see all these perfect people in the TV all the time, and all these famous movie stars, they look so perfect. They wake up like an angel. I mean, this is so unrealistic.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I think
Impossible,
if you just take a moment and you really think about it, that we're all human.
Exactly. You don't wake up like that.
Yeah, we all
wake up f***ed up.
You know, I mean, we all shit and eat and sleep, and we all have. It's just understanding what is true reality and what isn't is what keeps you grounded. You know,
but there is so many teenage girls. They don't realize this is the company have wrapped the whole package to show them. They think this is nature. They compare themselves. They think, oh, why they look so perfect? Why I'm look so bad? yeah, many teenagers out there, they don't think that way.
Well, I mean, I don't even think it's just teenagers. I think it's a lot of
Everybody,
people. I
yeah.
think a lot of people can get caught up in this comparison thing. Yeah, so I think it's so important to recognize that we're all individuals, that we're all unique, and we are all given different things. You know, some people really are blessed with really good looks and they look great. Some people are blessed with like musical talents.
Exactly.
Some people with great memories, and some people are super intelligent. I mean, I think everyone has something unique to offer. Find that and embrace that. I mean, you are always, if we play this game of comparing ourselves on every level, you know, I think because of social media, the first thing that we're able to compare is physical traits, right?
Exactly.
But if you compare yourself on every single level, you're gonna feel really shit because you're
Yeah.
gonna be like, I'm never meeting any of this. So rather than comparing, for me, like rather than comparing me to anyone else, I'm gonna compare me to old me.
Yeah.
You know, so for me, I guess, yeah, so what's important to me is that I am continually growing and being a better version of myself.
Yes.
So if I can look back and say, okay, I have read some more books, I'm a little bit wiser, I've learned from my mistakes, I'm growing in my compassion and my kindness towards people, that's good. For me, that's good. You know, things are going to change. Maybe, yeah, as I get older, maybe things are going to start not looking so great. It's okay.
Exactly.
But I think what's important is to stop the comparison to the rest of the world, because you will never feel enough if that's what you do.
Exactly. And all these famous people, they have the whole company to help them fix the makeup all the time.
Yeah.
To take the best photo.
Yeah.
All this famous photographer to help them to Photoshop the photos all night. What do you have? We have nothing. We look like this, already amazing. So we don't need to compare ourselves with all these people, which they have the whole team just to maintain the beauty.
Yeah,
That's ridiculous.
It is an understanding that especially what you see is fabricated. It's created.
It's products.
Yeah, so there's a lot that goes into that, and something, especially the way beauty is sold, is we are being sold to. So if they're selling you something, it means that they've created an environment. They've created this beautiful
culture, standard. Yeah.
And it's okay that we're not the same. Like if people are really physically attractive and beautiful, that's wonderful. Good for you. Yeah, that's I don't, you know, it's not looking at that and looking at it in a negative way. It's just recognizing that we all have our own thing. And that's what's great. We all have our own thing. So just embrace what is your own thing.
Exactly. And mostly I find out when we are falling in love with someone, we fall in love with their inside, with the good quality, the kind heart, the wonderful soul, the compassion, the empathy. We don't fall in love with the face, because the face gonna change as the time gone by. So the most attractive thing is the mind.
And the heart.
And the heart, yeah. Last month, we had very good conversation in the restaurant. I remember very well, you told me everybody should revisit our trauma to see how our parents' education have shaped who we are. So why this is so important?
Yeah, well, because, you know, our parents are the first example we have of love, of everything, you know. So we learn first from our parents, and I think all parents, I'd like to believe that all parents are just trying their best for the most part, you know, but we really don't understand the true impact that you have on little humans that are growing up.
Yes.
And so, I mean, I honestly think that everyone has probably has some kind of childhood trauma in some way. And I think as Asians, we definitely do.
Yeah, especially Asian culture. Yeah, we have a lot of pressure there.
Yeah, and so I think it's important to go back and to revisit those things, because we end up developing patterns of behavior,
Yes.
patterns of thinking, and the way that we deal with conflict, the way that we think about other people, our general disposition on life. Are we positive? Are we negative towards it?
Yes.
A lot of these things are what we learn from our childhood.
Or pick up from our parents.
Yeah, the way love was expressed to us, or maybe the way love wasn't expressed to us that we needed. So there are these things, it's so wide, that I guess you have really two choices. By not revisiting these things, by really not looking into it and seeing and understanding how it's shaped us and how it's shaped who you are as a person, because it plays such an important role. It's almost like you can be walking around as a bit of a ticking time bomb.
Wow.
And
Many
so-
people are ticking time bomb.
Yeah, and that used to be me. I mean, I'm not saying that in a judgmental way. I'm
Yeah,
saying
me
that,
too, me
like,
too.
That's who I was. And before I did a lot of this work for myself, I was hurting people. I didn't mean to hurt people, but I was. It came out in my relationships. I would fight in a really toxic way. I would say really hurtful things, and I didn't. And it felt like I had no control over it. It felt like these things would just come out, and it was too quick for me to catch, and I didn't understand why. And these behaviors are learned. If your parents didn't show you a healthy way to deal with conflict, then you might not have learned those skills. If your parents didn't show you how to communicate effectively, then you
Yes.
don't learn the skill of communication, which
Exactly.
is a skill. These are things that we have to learn.
Yeah.
And so I was a ticking time bomb, walking around just in pain, like in a lot of deep pain, and inflicting pain onto other people.
Wow.
Without understanding why. And so for me, it's so important, because I've realized in my own life that either your trauma controls you, or you can take control and change what's happening around you. And so for me, doing that work and revisiting your childhood and understanding how that has shaped you means that you get to take control. You
Yes.
get to choose the behaviors that come out of you. You get to choose the way that you think, and you can change.
Yes. We're not going to repeat our parents' mistake again. Yeah.
Yeah, and this is, the incredible thing is the brain is capable of changing. I think we used to think in science that you turn 26, your prefrontal cortex finishes developing, and then your brain is done. But it's not true. We can literally change grey matter. We can change the shape of our brain. But you have to, it's like exercise. You don't grow muscles from
Exactly.
just sitting around doing nothing. You go to the gym, you work out, you do the work. And so if we want to change behaviors, especially negative and toxic behaviors that aren't fruitful, that aren't providing and doing great things for us, then we have to revisit that. And it's painful and it's difficult. And it takes time, but yeah, I'm a huge advocate for that, and I think it's very valuable and it's worth it.
So how you heal yourself? How are you dealing with your own trauma?
Yeah, well, like I said, for me it started when I was 22 and I went to counselling for the first time, and that's an ongoing thing. I'm 31 now, so it's not that I've been in therapy for 9 years, but I go through seasons. So I go, and it's something that I check in with, especially when I'm having a difficult time managing or processing a specific challenging season of my life. But it started with counselling, and it was really rough. There was a lot of trauma that I had pushed down to try and ignore.
Yes, that's what we do before, yeah.
Yeah, and so it would obviously come up in different ways in my relationships, but that was the first thing that I did. The first step I took was go to therapy. And since then, I go back occasionally. the next thing was to then start to live very openly and honestly. So I think, you know, what we spoke about earlier about self-compassion and self-love was when I started having that for myself, and I could just be who I am and understand that this is me, you know. And it's okay. Like, I love myself. I know that I'm good, and I know that I'm always trying to be the best version of myself. So for me, it's living openly and honestly, and that's very healing, because when people accept you for the authentic version of yourself, when people, yeah, I guess, like, see you and and this is who you are and you're not trying to be someone else, that is something that's very healing.
So, what do you think about 30 years old? Because there is a lot of pressure in Asian culture, and especially for women, you must get married and have children in certain age. So a lot of women out there have a lot of fear to turning 30 years old. How do you think about 30 years old?
I love it. Well, I'm 31, and I am the best version of me that I've ever been. You know, it's something.
Look at you. Before, in your teenage, you have so many insecurity. You're so harsh to yourself, and look at now.
Yeah. So I love being 30. There's obviously a lot more life experiences. I hope that I'm a bit more mature.
Yeah, I'm mature.
A bit wiser, and I've learned a lot of things, and I love it. But I 100% I understand this pressure, because it still exists. In just general society, you know, I think there's this pressure, particularly on women, that you have to have all of life figured out, and you need to start having babies, and it's just this checklist we were talking about. You need to do all these things. But for me, I am, you know, maybe by Asian standards, I would probably be a failure, because I'm 31. I got married, but then we separated. I don't have this super stable full-time job that, you know, in a corporate office. I left my lawyer job. I go around having fun, and I don't have a stable home. You know, my life compared to what the Asians would
standard, the successful standard.
And that's normalized. It's not even to Asians. It really is to the world. To the world, is there's this standard of being settled by the time you're 30, and I am definitely not. And yeah, there's this obsession, which I don't understand, because I really do believe that we need time to figure out ourselves. And and it's fine if you choose that life, you know, and many of us have this privilege of choice. And so for me, it's like, if I get to choose the kind of life I want, and I can make those decisions, and I've got friends who want that. I've got friends who are married and have wonderful kids. They've got a great family. They're settled down, and they chose that. And I'm so happy for them, because that's a choice. You know, and they spent the time figuring themselves out. And we don't ever obviously just figure ourselves out. That's ongoing as well. But I really disagree with just having kids because you feel like
somebody
you have
push
to have,
you.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Just for the sake of having kids, because that being a parent is a huge responsibility. And a huge privilege. Because what you get the opportunity to do is you're raising the future little humans. Yeah. Like, you get to influence and impact little humans. We were just talking about, you know, childhood trauma and the impact of parents. So knowing that, for me, I really want that to be a choice. Like, I don't know if I'm gonna have kids or not or whatever, but if I do choose to, I want it to be because I'm so excited to raise little humans who are going to contribute and give back to the world. So I do think it's not about age. Like, I went, you know, when I was in uni, there were 60 and 70-year-olds studying law. You can be doing whatever it is that you want to do, for the most part.
60, 70 studying law.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that's, you know, you can pursue things at any age. Like, I learned snowboarding when I was like in my late 20s. I learned free diving in my late 20s. There are all these things that I'm doing, and it's not dictated by age. that age is not something that's going to limit me, you know, and I don't, that pressure exists. I'm okay with that, but I'm gonna do me. I'm gonna do the things that I want because my choices, I'm the one who lives with the joy and the consequences of everything. I am. So someone else pressuring me to do something, they don't have to live with it.
Exactly.
So yeah, if that's the case, I'm gonna make the choices that are best for me.
So if you can travel in back time to meet the 20 years old Amanda, what do you want to say to her?
You know, go easy on yourself. That's really it. Like, I think
Go
I was
easy.
go easy on yourself a little. You don't have to have it all figured out and you don't have to have it all put together straight away. There's just no rush.
So you have been traveling so many countries and you're always going on adventures like free diving, snowboarding, and all these things. How your parents think about all your lifestyle?
I think for my parents, they don't really get it, which is fine. They definitely think a lot of it is dangerous, which a lot of people do. I get it. It's a bit extreme because I enjoy, snowboarding and going off jumps and going off cliffs and free diving really deep. So I like these extreme things, which one, I'm a girl. So there's this, oh, you know, but you're a girl and you shouldn't be doing those things and whatever. I don't really care. And then there's this other side of, it looks like I'm being really irresponsible. Because I guess to the Asian culture, you should be focused on security and stability. And having fun should kind of come last.
Yes.
So, yeah, I've, you know, and my parents obviously made a lot of sacrifices coming to Australia. And for them, I guess for them, they see it as we worked really hard so that you could get an education, get a job and settle down.
And get better life.
Yeah, and have a better life. And this is something I've spoken to my mum about, and I explained to her, you know, actually what you did, those sacrifices, it was to give me choices. You know, and I had those choices and I chose education at one point. And I am still living a really great life and I'm really happy and I pursue all the things that I want to do. I am earning an income doing things that I really enjoy doing and I get to travel the world. You know, so the privilege and the freedom that comes with this is wonderful. So I think my parents don't necessarily get it in that they would never want to do the same thing and they don't understand, you know, that actually you can kind of be responsible and have this life. They definitely view it as a little bit reckless, but we're from different generations. You know.
Exactly.
So that's okay. I think it's something that I accept, that they can still love me and support me even if they don't fully understand. Yeah, it's taken a long time to get there. My mum definitely still asks,
Yes.
when are you coming back to be a lawyer again? I'm like, never. Yeah.
So Amanda, do you have any plan for the future and which country you want to go the most?
Well, winter's coming up, so
Snowboarding.
yeah, hopefully somewhere for snowboarding, we'll see. To be honest, what I would really love to do is actually go home and visit my friends and family because I haven't seen them for over 2 years. And
The last year you were snowboarding in Europe. Which country?
I was in Bulgaria.
How was it?
Yeah, it was pretty good.
Wow,
Snow's not. I was in Japan.
jealous.
No, I was in Japan before then. Japan's just got the best snow, so it's hard to compare.
Wow.
But yeah, I would love to go home, but Australia's being Australia, so I can't. Who knows what's going to happen? I think you just got to embrace life as it comes and do your best.
And which country you want to go the most?
A new country or a country? Because there are
You always want to go, but I haven't been yet.
Okay, I haven't been yet. So I would love to go to Antarctica because
Penguins.
yeah, I want to see penguins. I love penguins.
Oh, I love
That's
penguins
a dream.
too.
I mean, so many though. To be honest, I want to go to every country in the world.
Yeah, me too.
But Antarctica is a really nice kind of future thing that I would like. And I mean, so many places that I haven't been that I would love to go to.
So thank you so much for today, Amanda. That's a wonderful conversation. It's so important to have a good friend in our life, to share her wisdom, to share the story, how she loved herself to us. It's so important for my followers too, because I really, really want you guys to learn how to love yourself, take care of yourself, have a compassion to yourself. I'm watching you guys. Don't be too harsh to yourself. Be healthy and be happy every day. That's it. Life is easy.
Be kind to yourself.
Be kind to yourself, yes. Thank you, Amanda.
Thank you, Yao Yao. See you guys.
See you. Bye-bye.